common forms for that. Okay, now let's talk about jazzing up your chord progressions. Well, one of the easiest things to do is add color tones. So if it's a C chord that I'm looking at, I can always add a color tone. Well, what is a color tone? Color tones are tones that are added to the chord, still based off of the major scale. So a C triad is C, E, G, and the major seventh on that would be that extra B. One of the color tones would be like your 9th, 11th, and 13th. Now, which would be a D would be the 9th. So a C major 9th would be C, E, G, B, D. One way to jazz up chord progressions is just by throwing extra color tones in there. Kind of gives it a sweeter sound. So instead of C and an A minor, let's say, and a D minor, and a G, well, let's say I'm playing jazz. Well, maybe I want to do a C major 7th. Maybe I want to do an A minor 11th. Maybe a D minor 9th. Maybe a G 9th. Something like that. Okay? Just gives it a different color. Let's go through a couple of progressions and see what are some other things that we can do to jazz up our progressions. One of the things that we can do other than adding color tones is adding what's called a 2-5 progression. 2-5s are used a lot in jazz harmony all over the place. What do I mean by that? Well, remember a couple of sessions back we talked about the harmonized major scale. Let's review. If I'm in C, the first chord is C major, C, E, G. The second chord is D, F, A, and that ends up being a D minor chord. That would be our 2 chord. It's a minor chord. If we jump up to the 5th, our 5 chord would be a G, B, and D, and that's back to a major chord. So in any key, if I want to get to that key, I just throw a 2 and a 5 in, and it'll get me to whatever key I'm going in. Let's take a look at that first example. You've got 2 chords there. You've got a C major 7th going to an F major 7th. Pretty common progression. F major 7th. Now that's pretty good, but let's see if we can jazz it up by using the 2-5 of the key that we're going to. So the first measure stays the same, C major 7th. And then, but look, I still have that F major 7th in bar 3, but in bar 2 I'm adding the 2 and the 5 to right before, in the key of F, right before that F chord. Not the 2-5 in C, but the 2-5 of the chord that I'm going to, of the key that I'm going to, which ends up being a G minor and a C 7th. Let's hear how that changes the sound a little bit. Ready, go. Gave it a whole lot more color there, didn't it?